Hi, this is Scott Shephard of Scott Shephard Photography, and this is the first in what I hope to be a series of video tutorials that I'm going to call Backstage Pass. And what I will try to do in each of these is to show you a little bit about the thought processes and also the technical processes that go into photos that I produce. Some of you may be familiar with a blog that I have called A Photo a Day. In theory, I post a photo every day, thus the name. And I'm not always perfect in doing that, but yesterday's post I call A Christmas in January. And it's a macro photo of a bloom on a Christmas cactus that lives in the bathroom, the main bathroom in our house. And so I want to show you a little bit about how I did this. First of all, I use as my primary editing and organizing software something called Aperture 3.4, made by Apple, and it only works on Apple computers, although Lightroom 4, made by Adobe, is a cross-platform tool, and perhaps you're familiar with that. I'm not going to talk about the software so much in this particular tutorial. I really just want to talk about how I got the one picture that I posted and why I picked that particular picture. Now you notice here that in the process of taking this photo, and by the way, this photo shoot started at 3:54 and the last photo was taken at 4:09, so I worked on this for about 15 minutes. And in the 15 minutes I took 43 photos, which is probably too many, but I'm just going to say that part of the problem with this kind of photography, macro photography, is finding a focal point, because when you're close up to a subject, it's really hard to get the right thing in focus. And so my first picture wasn't so bad. I liked the way, by the way, that the sun was coming in through the bathroom window, which is over here, so the sun is backlighting this. This is a fairly new bloom, by the way. Actually, it might have just happened yesterday. I've been watching this cactus get ready to bloom for about a week. And so I'm experimenting with a variety of different takes on this photo, trying to find the right thing to focus on, trying to find the right background. You'll notice here that it's just not quite sharp. So I'm taking quite a few of this same shot. And I'm going to come back to that because it's one of those that I ended up picking. I also try a little bit different composition. Not really liking these. I also found that there was an object in the background that actually ended up being a good background for this photo, even though it's in focus. You do need to pay attention to that. And I might have picked one of these shots, except that I really didn't like the way that the flower was focused. And so ultimately I ended up taking this shot. So let's look at that full screen. Now this, by the way, is the unedited photo. In fact, this is as it was right out of the camera. Now I am going to show you something about the metadata here. In this particular case, I'm shooting in manual mode, manual exposure mode. I've got the exposure that I want, and the light was not changing real quickly, and so I didn't have to worry about the exposure. I didn't want the camera to try to outthink me on this one. I'm not using flash, and I'm shooting at f4 1/60th of a second. And in this particular case, I was very carefully trying to focus on this part of the cactus, because I knew that that was going to be the main focal point. And I also kind of like the fact that the rest of it goes softly out of focus. And I really like the way these red lines outline the leaf, even though it's out of focus. I also composed it so that I got some green over here, good complementary colors. And of course, green is the color of the leaves of this particular cactus, or the petals, whatever you call them. So anyway, that's the photo that I started with. Oops. And the photo that I ended up with is this one right here. Now, if I look at the master photo and the after photo, you'll notice that I cropped it. If you ask me why did I pick that particular crop, I'm very conscious of rule of thirds, and I know that main visual element should appear somewhere at the cross points. They're called power points in the rule of thirds. And so in this particular case, the power point was right there. I also had excellent focus, and so that's the shot. In terms of processing, I didn't do a whole lot. I played a little bit with levels. I also played just a little bit with exposure. And then finally, I also did some sharpening. Now, I don't know that you can see this, but I'm going to turn the sharpening off. And I want you to look right in there when I turn the sharpening on. And I'm letting the computer or the software really take care of the sharpening process. This was a raw file to begin with, and therefore it was not as sharp as it needed to be. Raw files come out of the camera in a way that allow the photographer or the photo editor control over fine details like sharpening. Anyway, that's the after photo, and that's the before photo, and that's the photo that ended up being posted to my blog. Anyway, thanks for listening and watching. Hope this helps.